Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. I read an article recently. We all know, I don't want to say hatred of the elderly, disdain. My disdain for the elderly community. And I was recently, I was talking to my boss actually recently about this. Like I said, that was like one of the first things when she got promoted, she wrote down about me, was that I hate old people. And it's not that I hate old people, it's particularly the elderly. And there's a difference, right? You can be elderly and be 60, or you can be old and be 90. You know, because we've all met them, right? They got a spring in their step. They're happy to be breathing. They are, they're just glad. Their hearing is still somewhat there. Their eyesight is, subpar at best. It's a terrible sense to have, Eyesight's, give it or take it. Yeah, it's fine. Echolocation. That's fine, That's McDonald's. That's a treat. Fucking easy, right? So, there's a difference between the elderly and the old. And I think a good distinction is like an elderly person is frail, right? They didn't have enough milk that day or something, right? You drop a match on them, not lit, of course, but a match could even break their hip. Very fragile, right? They take, need lots of care and lots of attention. They're forgetful, grumpy typically. I think that is what the elderly, in my mind, is. And old is just, you're an older person. You're still with it. You still got all your mental faculties. And you're just old. Yeah, that's fine. It's the elderly that we have the disdain for. But some people thought it was funny and some people's like, but I recently read an article where this woman, old lady, I say old, I don't know if she was elderly. We don't know now. But she called, what was it? Should we even say the name? Why not? Xfinity. So I think it was Xfinity. It could have been another company. Probably was another company. Probably a lot of companies that did it. But this old lady, I don't know if she called this company or if they were just doing routine maintenance or something. I have no fucking idea. But the cable company, because she's old, so she has, cable TV. The cable company comes out and having issues, presumably, at her home. They come out and I don't know. I don't think we know. At least I don't know what transpired at that house. But he ended up murdering that old bitch. So, and I use bitch in a very lenient way. Not bitch as in like, what a fucking bitch. No, just like a bitch. A very casual term, very casual, I like. So, woman, one of God's children, really whatever you want to say. But she's dead. She gone. She ain't coming back, right? At least not until Jesus is. So the family, I think this happened in, I don't even think I wrote the year down. I'm going to say like 2018 or something. Maybe before that. But the family of the now deceased took company to court, and they were like, hey, that was wrong, that was bad, we want some money. And I'm not going to tell you yet. We're going to get to there. You got to keep listening. They got a hell of a lot of money, and I don't care if she was elderly. Oh my, I would, I don't care how much I had to play it up in court. I am so heartbroken that she lied or died. So they won a ton of money. I'm going to tell you how much in a minute. But the reason that they won so much money is because, or was awarded, was because this was not the first incident with this particular technician. I mean, as far as I know, he didn't murder any other customer, but he did rob other customers. And I think that's how this one started. And then she may have like saw or caught on and was upset and said, "Hey, what the hell?" And then he ended up killing him. I think that's probably what happened. But he had a history, a recorded history within the company. It was reported many times that he was allegedly stealing from customers. Okay. And, I think there was a few times, or at least one time, where he was actually talking with his bosses about it. And, he brought up that he was having money issues and, family issues potentially. And there was a lot going on in his life that they were privy to. So I don't know if he, admitted that, yeah, I did rob these people, but I need the money for, whatever. I don't know if that happened or not. But they were aware, and it was recorded within the company, that there was these alleged issues that he was stealing from customers. Multiple complaints. So they were well aware. They may not have known that this motherfucker was going to go out and, kill Betty Sue or whatever the hell her name is. I'm sure they had no idea. I'm sure they had no intention of Fred or whatever the hell his name is to go out and kill some fucks, because you're killing your customer base. Yeah, more money in their pockets. They don't want that. Or they want the more money, but they don't want to lose the money. You know what I'm saying? So the family of the now deceased took Xfinity or whatever fucking company in court and said, "Hey, that was wrong. Okay, we're gonna need some money." I don't care if that was my great grandma or my grandma. She took one for the team. That's what that bitch did. She took one for the team. I don't care if we weren't close, if I've never met her in my life or I met her once. I'm going to be on the stand of that courtroom and I will cry. I will beg, "Please, God, bring Betty Sue back. Please." I'll play the shit up. I will play the shit out of that. We had such a deep relationship. If I had to take fucking acting classes before I go in there, I will do that, right? We were so close, how am I going to get the moments back that we had? And, oh man, I can go on and on about that. So, they had some fucking good ass lawyers. I got to find out who those lawyers are, because if I need to sue somebody, I'm going to hire them. So they were awarded I think it was over $7 billion. $7 billion with a motherfucking B. Billion. $7 billion. Can you imagine? Right? They're probably not going to get the full 7. One, because the fucking government, fuck them. But 2, it's still going to be a court battle for many years on, trying to get that lowered. So I think it'll be lower. I don't think they'll be stuck with the full 7 billion, but they're going to get a hefty sum of money. Great lawyers. Fantastic. I mean, that is amazing. I'm sure it's well deserved. I'm sure people loved her. But Grandma took one for the team. And that's what family is all about. Come one, come all, or fucking something like that. I don't know. But goddamn. Going to Grandma's funeral and give her, instead of a $20 vase of flowers, because I don't understand that. We're going to get the $45 because she took one for the team. So thinking about it, I don't know I don't understand the whole flowers at a funeral thing. Live flower. I don't understand. Um, I've been to, probably, that was my first funeral, second, third. I've been to three, four. Well, that was a bad one. I've been to four funerals in my life. That was four too many. And I don't say, is too many because, the dead, but, people die. Uh, you know, people die. That's fine. I don't like the dead. I don't like dead bodies. I have never liked dead bodies. TV shows, movies, whatever. That's fine, right? But in real fucking life, when there is a body right there, I don't like it. Not one bit. I remember in high school, I'm a good person. I volunteered over 900 hours, almost 1,000 hours. I volunteered at my local hospital. It's the hospital I was born in, now torn down. Rest in peace. And almost 1,000 hours in high school. Because I think in high school, to graduate, we had to have like 20 or 25 hours of community service. Stuff is like, oh, why not do it at the hospital? I don't know how I got that idea. Somebody told me, I guarantee it. I don't know. But I was there for far too long. I volunteered my time. And I remember many occasions, the director, whatever lady was over the volunteer people, she was getting paid. But they would always say, oh, God, you guys are saving the hospital millions of dollars every year, by volunteering your time. And that sounds great. That sounds great until you think about it. The other, we're losing X amount of dollars. There's a lot of old people there, but still, we are losing X amount of dollars per person to save the hospital the millions. And I guarantee that the millions that the volunteers save hospitals doesn't lower healthcare costs at all. I fucking guarantee that. I guarantee if you got rid of all volunteer positions, or if you said, hey, you can volunteer, but we're going to pay you, right? Because that's only fair, I feel like. That organically, if that's the right phrase for this, organically, I don't think that would change the healthcare prices at all. Now, it would increase the prices, but I don't think for the reason that everybody's thinking, like, oh, you're paying more people, you have to raise the cost. I don't think that's it at all. The people at the top have to want to make as much money as possible, right? And they're not going to lose money, right? They're going to take that from other people because they're just fucks. So that's when I learned. I remember I was delivering some paperwork somewhere to like the main offices and the hospital, and it's a small shitty town. But that's when I found out that the hospital has a CEO. A CEO of a hospital. A chief executive officer. And I'm like, what in the fuck do you need a CEO for a hospital? And that's when I started finding out that nothing in the United States of America is to help anybody. Well, that's not true. There's a lot of things to help people, but it helps people get more money, but, it doesn't help the people that, healthcare, food, cost of living, nothing is... I was on Facebook yesterday, and I follow one of my ex's family members or child brides or something. I don't know exactly where she is, but she's a cop. And, I followed her. I think she requested to follow me when me and my ex were together a while back. And and whatever. And now our posts come up every now and then. And yesterday, she posted. It was a meme on. Basically said, "I'm all for." What the hell did he say? It was, I'm all for giving kids free student lunches instead of funding or paying for other people's college, right? Because Joe Biden just wiped away, depending on who you are, $10,000 to $20,000 of, and how much money you make, $10,000 to $20,000 of student loan debt. Like that's going to do anything. And I was looking through the comments because I'm like, oh, what are those stupid shit people are going to say? And people are agreeing with that. And I follow some of the other people that were like, yeah, I'm all for that. Are you? Because I can look at some posts back where you're like, that's bad. We don't need to, like you're just, now they're for it because now they're really against paying for people's college. And the only reason they're against paying for people's college is because their college isn't being paid for. It's the older people, not typically the younger people. Some younger people are stupider and like, yeah, but it's usually the older people. They either didn't go to college or already paid off their debt. And they're like, what do I get out of this? Sock in your mouth. Shut the fuck up, Phil. All right? So, they're like, oh yeah, I'm all for it. We should give all kids, free lunches and free breakfasts at school. We should do that. But literally, 1, 2, 3 more months ago when there, all these other posts that they have of, whenever that comes out of, oh, there should be, free, free school lunches or free school, food for students. And, they're like, oh, their parents need to go get a job and work for their money like I had to, and yada, 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 fucking yada. Like how that pisses me off of, sure, typically whenever I wanted to eat at school, right, my mom gave me the money. Sometimes she would forget and I would have a hungry lunch, but typically when she remembered, I would have money for school, right? Or I packed my lunch when I was young. But a lot of people don't have that option, right? Because when I was in school lunches, when I was there, I think it was, by the time I graduated, it was probably like $2.75 or something like that, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. Because if you look 5 days a week, 6 months out of the year, kids are in school. 8 months, I don't know. So $2.75, and if they're going to be eating at school every day, that's $13.75 a week, right? And let's say they're in school for 20 weeks. I don't know if that's more or less. I don't care. That's $275, right? And to some people, right? Like, oh, it's $2.75 a day and $13.75 a week and $2.75 a year. That's not a lot. But there's also a large group of people where that is a lot. Where my dog, she's hurting my cat. They're best friends though. It's crazy. So, but there's a lot of people that $2.75 a day, $13.75 a week, $2.75 a year, on top of, right? Because $2.75 a day. Oh, sure. But if you take in their wage, they may not be making enough, right? Or they may not be able to work. They may be on Social Security and disability. You don't know their circumstances, right? That $2.75. Well, now they have to pay for rent. They have to pay for food at their own house, for lunches and dinners and snacks and whatever else. Shoes, clothes, school supplies, gas for the car, insurance for the car, and the odds and ends and stuff like that. So there, you start taking the minimal money that they have, and now you're like, well, it's only $2.75. You can afford that, right? but in actuality, a lot of people cannot afford that. And then now, your kid is going to school, or are they able to eat, right? Is there any assistance program that they can be on to make sure that they can eat? Because there's a lot of kids in a lot of places that's not an option. And, there's a lot of factors in that. And it's crazy to think, like, as a people, that you can be fine, right? You can drive by the homeless people every day, and you can see all these stories about the kids and adults and that aren't able to buy their own food or pay for a place to live, whatever their circumstances. It doesn't matter. Like, that should be given to everybody, right? No matter your socioeconomic level, no matter, do you have a job or don't you have a job, no matter the fucking reason, you should be able to have a bare minimum place to live, right? Heat, AC, food in your fridge, right? You might not be eating a fucking T-bone steak every night, right? But you're having enough food to get enough nutrients for yourself and for your kids and for your husband and for your wife and for your aunts and for your uncles and your cousins and your neighbors and your, fucking everybody. Like, how are we living in a country where that is like something where, like, that's socialism, where somebody has the bare minimum that you need to survive, right? You need health care, you need a place to live, you need food to eat, depending on where you live, where you work, where you go to school, transportation. And it doesn't have to be a car for each person. We should start to get rid of all of that, but buses or bicycles, and there are a lot of options that you have or should have, could have. So I don't think, it's crazy to think that is an out there thought that, just because somebody didn't go to school where you went, didn't grow up where you grew up, didn't have the parents that you had, right? Didn't have the chances and the opportunities that you had, or that they had, or that the other person had, that, one experience should put you above somebody else's, that you're better than them because, well, I make that enough money to, pay for my kids' lunch. How is it fair that, they get theirs for free? Like, it's an us against them mentality. And it's caused by, even if you look at the current, like, political landscape of, Republican and Democrat, or, moderate or Green Party, whatever you identify with, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because I think, this is my thought, I think everything happens the way it's going and is set to happen. I don't think the leaders that are in charge are actually the leaders, right? I think the big corporate companies and the billionaires of not just the world, not just the country, but the world, are in charge of everything. And these people run for these offices, and portray themselves as well. I don't think it matters. I don't think if it was Donald Trump in office right now, or Joe Biden, or Kamala Harris, or Hillary Clinton, everything would happen the exact same way. We have a facade of choices. We don't have a choice, right? You have, a large group of people, and they whittle themselves down in these fucking debates, and then you have, the two people, or if you take the Green Party, three, or other parties, you can have a lot of people. But it's the facade of choices where you don't have one, right? Joe Biden might be in office right now. He is in office right now. Donald Trump might be in office and come 2025. And everything is going to happen the same way. It's the facade of having a choice. And in the face of that, they can also control everybody, right? Because it's the old divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. It's us against them. I don't think that these United States of America, I don't think is as divided as we are being told, right? Because we're all told like, these people are fucking nut jobs that believe in this, and these people are fucking nut jobs, and they want to, suck off people that are wearing fucking swastikas or have Hitler's grandchildren, whatever. We're all told how divided we are, because if everybody, the 7 billion plus people, the many billions of people on this fucking planet, if we were all like, fuck this, right, we could overthrow everything that's going on right now and say, fuck no, right? Because you take your billionaires and your large fucking corporations, if everybody was on the same team of the common good, and you just want to help each other succeed instead of trying to tear people down, we would be in a better place. And that's why it's tough, because like the January 6th thing, it's tough. I 100% agree with overthrowing the government. I'm all for it. I would be the first motherfucker in line to overthrow the government. I think that would be, a step forward. Honestly, I do. But not for who they try to do it for and the reasons behind it. I don't agree with that portion. But the act, the physical act of overthrowing the government, sure. But I don't think you should overthrow the government to put the government back in. I mean, who do you think controls him? I ran off my own money. Motherfucker, you don't got any money. Shut the fuck up. Right? It's, it's crazy. And people buy into it. They're like, oh, yeah, Trump 2020, Trump 2024, blah, blah, blah. It's all a facade. It's all fake. Nothing is, one, I think we live in a simulation, but two, like, we're just all being divided. You have people being told, well, all these people want free stuff, and then these people are like, oh, those people are just, bootlickers and want to suck Trump's dick all day. But really, where's the truth? Because neither of those are necessarily the truth, right? They're like, well, everybody wants free stuff. Everybody wants free stuff. i.e., people want healthcare. People want food, a place to live. The basic necessities that we should all have that shouldn't be tied with your healthcare, is tied to if you have a fucking job, right? And that's another reason that they only waived $10,000 to $20,000 of student loan debt if you make less than $125,000. Because if they waived everything, all of the student loan debt, then this worker shortage that they had would be even worse, right? Because now people aren't tied down to their crushing student loan debt. Because I saw something, I think I was on Reddit the other day. It was it was a meme against, you know, the Republicans or whatever, where you know, oh, you took out the loans, you know, you need to be fiscally responsible or responsible and pay them back. And on the other hand was, you know, all the banks need to, you know, be responsible and not lend $100,000 to a 17, 18-year-old, right? And the reason that that's the case, you know, I remember getting out of college, I applied to so many credit cards, I wasn't getting accepted any because my credit history wasn't long enough. I was paying for a car, I was paying for a ring, engagement ring, you know, and I was paying for a lot of shit, my phone bill, a place to live, but I couldn't get a credit card. But they sure in the hell gave me, for the 2 years I went to school, they sure in the hell gave me $40,000. And there was another separate $17,000 for another one. But, you know, you gave me, you know, that money, but the reason that they give you that money is the old promise of, well, you know, if you go to school, you're going to be able to get a good job and make a good living and have a great family and have a great house and have a great way of life. And then at, you know, 65, 70, 75, however fucking high they're moving it up to now, you can retire and, you know, live out your golden years. Golden fucking years. You're going to be fucking dead. So, but what that means, in essence, of, you know, what's portrayed in the movies and the TV shows of, oh, a happy family. Motherfucker, if they lose their job, and we saw it during the pandemic in 2020, and 2021, and 2022, we saw it in 2008 with the financial crash. We're about to have another one, I think. I don't fucking know. But where everybody lost their job. And that security that they had was a false sense of security. Because now they don't have really hardly any money coming in, right? You have the unemployment, but that's fucking nothing, right? So you're having, you know, a huge decrease in your, you know, amount that's coming in. Same amount of, you know, bills that you have, those aren't changing, but you have way less money coming in, and that shows the facade that people live in. Because everybody wants a nice car, everybody wants a nice house to show off. You know, they're like, well, look at me. You know, I do XYZ, right? I work here, I work there, I do this, I do that. You know, look what I, you know, have become, right? It's all facade. It is all a facade, right? And you find it out during every financial crisis there is, that it's not real. It's not sustainable. They cannot afford it. They do it not for themselves, but they do it for how everybody else will perceive them, right? Because you drive through a nice neighborhood, you're like, oh, I wonder what these people do, right? These are some nice houses. Sure, maybe, but, you know, at what price? At what price? Because a lot of people live far out of their means, you know, so they're bringing in, you know, maybe 100K, you know, but they could be living on 200 or 300, right? They have, you know, crushing student loan debt, crushing credit card debt, you know, and they're just, you know, showing like, oh, you know, we have all this money, but you don't. People need to understand, like so many people, so many of us, like me, if I lost my job today, if my boss called me and said, hey, Colin, it's great working with you. You're a great guy. But we got to let you go because of who the fuck cares, right? I'd probably lose my apartment in like 2 months, right? Like so many of us, if not probably almost everybody, that is not in the 1%, where if you lost your job, like how long could you live without that money coming in? And it's not going to be long, right? You're going to lose that car, you're going to lose that house, you're going to lose that apartment, You're going to lose your health care, or you're going to lose everything. You know, but we're told, everybody's told, you know, you go to college, you take out the, you know, $50,000 to $100,000 in, you know, in student loan debt, but you're going to be able to get a really good job. You're going to get a really good job, right? You're going to go to school for history, and you can become a history teacher, right? Or history professor, but you have to go to more school for that. You can become an historian. Those are, you know, it's a booming fucking business. You can do anything you want to do. Take out this $100,000, and you know that is the key to the rest of your life. It is the key to the rest of your life because you're going to be paying that off for the rest of your life. You know, you ran out of money, and I get to declare bankruptcy. That sucks. Student loans aren't going to be forgiven. Fuck you. Cool. So you still owe that, and it's baffling that it's just all a facade, and everybody tries to play face, and you know, and like, oh, I'm doing so well, but you're not. Again, it's by design, because they, you know, the large corporations need the labor. Because without a labor force, without workers, without people, they wouldn't have a company. They wouldn't have a business. You can only get so far on robots, right? They can play that fucking game every few years that they want to play, like, oh, we're going to replace everybody with robots. Motherfucker, that's more than 20 years away still, if not more than that, right? Like that, no. All right, they'll play that game when it's talk about getting more money. They're taking money away from them. They're like, oh, we're going to get some robots in here. The fuck you are. The fuck you are. Right? So, it's a game. You know? Crush them as young as possible with all of that debt, and they will have no option but to get a job, be a good little worker bee, and keep working for the companies, and you know, just keep, you know, just another cog in the machine. It's disgusting if you think about it. Honestly, capitalism is fucking. Again, I think we should overthrow the government. I'm all for it. I'm going to get a call or a knock on the door by the FBI, and I will gladly talk to you. Fuck them, right? Fuck everybody. We should overthrow the government. Honestly, capitalism is a terrible. Everything is for profit. It's disgusting, right? It's disgusting. Overthrow the government. I'm all for it. Overthrow the government. FBI, I'll gladly talk to you. We'll sit down, we'll have a chat, not during work hours, because I'm a worker bee. So, but it's just, honestly, the society that we live in is terrible. You know, and just so many things of, you know, oh, we live in the greatest country in the world because of, you know, X, Y, or Z. The fuck we do. Nobody, no country, right? There's other countries that are far better than the U.S., 100%. But in a way, we're all, you know, similar in that aspect of the corporations that run everything. Right? It's all a facade. Right? And again, that is why they didn't waive all of the student loan debt. Just wipe it, clean slate for everybody. They didn't do that. The reason is because they need those workers. Because again, if you don't have the workers, they don't have a company, they don't make the money, and then they'll have to finally admit, like, oh my God, well, the workers actually do stuff. You know, they are the ones that actually make me the money. And I just stand here, reap all the benefits, and say how good of a job that I'm doing. But you don't do a goddamn thing. You sit in your office, call yourself a CEO, CFO, whatever C-suite executive you fucking are, and, you know, you're just like, hey, you know, we're so great because, you know, we made this amount of money. How does that make you great, you fuck? Fuck them. Overthrow the government. Kill all the CEOs. All for it. I'm ready to meet with you, FBI. It's crazy to think, like, to some people, maybe you, maybe this sounds like it's very, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but very, like over the top. But it's not. It's not, because we're all just trying to survive, right? I mean, you're just trying to have as comfortable a life as possible, but we're going to be working for the rest of our lives. You know, we're told to, you know, to save, and oh my gosh, you can retire at 75. Ain't nobody we're going to be retiring. You're going to be, you know, it's just, what life, even if you do retire at 75 or 70, 65, 60, whatever fucking age, what kind of life do you think you're going to have, right? Because like right now you're like, oh man, I would love to go, you know, to India and, you know, or go over to, you know, all these other countries, or go, you know, go on a hike on Mount Kilimanjaro, or, you know, climb Mount Everest. Your old ass ain't going to be doing that at 75, right? There are some people that do. The vast majority of the old fucks don't. You're not going to be able to, right? You're going to be on some fucking cruise with a bunch of other old people having a miserable ass time, right? And then you go home and you just sit in front of your TV for 45 fucking hours a day, and that's your life, right? You worked every day, and you really don't have anything to show for it, right? You don't really have any memories, or you may have gone on some vacations and had some fun or whatever, but for the most part, you worked. You work for the majority of your life, and then you get your last couple years to enjoy them. But you're probably going to still owe some money on your house. You might have a car payment. Everything costs money, right? You're older. You're going to have more healthcare costs more than likely, right? You're not going to have any, you know, really any money to enjoy. Even if you're fucking all mentally there at that age. It's crazy. And it's the American dream. You can do anything you want. You know, sure, I do believe that. I do believe that to an extent, you can do what you want. To an extent. But the powers that be will always prevail unless we overthrow the world government, governments, corporations, you know, unionize with actual good unions, you know, have a voice and team up together. Because if you know, they want to separate, again, they want to just fucking separate us. Because if you divide, you can conquer. But if everybody comes together and is like, this is fucked up, we can actually make some changes happen. But the way it is, it's not. Which is sad. Should we leave it off on a good note? What? Let's leave it off on a funny note. Let's make you guys laugh. Have I talked about my grandma talking about hump day? So I remember it was in, I think, in middle school, maybe. I was probably in middle school at this point. So in middle school, my grandma, I think she was driving us to her aunt's, I believe. And it was on a Wednesday. And she's like, oh, happy hump day. And I thought that conversation was going to go completely different. Because to this day, and I'm 27. Yeah, I'm 27. And I have never had to talk. Never. Thank God for the fucking internet. But I've never had to talk. And I thought my mom was like, hey, you know, to have this talk with your grandson. And we were not close. We were not close. I was not ready to have it. I got so fucking nervous. But it took a different direction. She's like, oh, I was like, what is that? And she's like, you've never heard of that? I was like, no. And that's when she told me hump day is, you're getting over the hump of the week into the weekend. And it was like, oh. But yeah, I thought that was going in a different direction. I was like, holy shit, Grandma, I do not want to talk about fucking with you, right? No. And to this point, I'm kind of glad that I never even had to talk with either of my parents, because I was never close, still not really close with them at all. It would just been very awkward. I learned everything that I needed from the internet. I probably could have used, it probably would have been nice, but never had the talk. Never had the talk. I always got caught. I don't think I talked about this. I got caught growing up a lot looking at porn. My stepdad eventually downloaded some fucking program or whatever where, blocked out certain websites, or if you went to certain websites, it would report it back and you could see the report for the day of like, oh, I went to this website or that website, or I tried to go to this website, whatever. And I was like, man, that's a fucking system. But he wasn't the greatest. He wasn't the greatest at what he did. He always left himself logged in to his email. So it was like back in the day when you had like the Windows computer, there was different users and whatever. So he was the admin user. But he always had the same password for everything. Same password for everything. And sure enough, that password was the one of his admin login. So I would log in and I would go, and once you try and log into that program that limited what sites you can use, it would email him a code to his email. So that way you can put that code in to confirm that you're in fact that person, and you can turn those features off and then turn them back on if you want. He never logged out of his email. So I would email the code, I would go into his email, and because he didn't know I had the admin password, and I don't know, I still don't know to this day if he knew this was going on. But I would get the code and I would go into the program, I'd put the code in, I would turn all the features off, and then I would go back to my profile. And I think I went to, I don't even know at that point, I don't think I knew what a incognito tab was. So I don't know if I used it. I think I definitely cleared out the history and everything, but I'd go and search whatever porn I wanted to search for, do my thing. How many times? I mean, sometimes, anyway. And then before he got home from work, I would turn on, go back into the admin profile, turn everything back on, log out, go back to my profile, clear everything out, log out whenever I'm done. I feel like I was pretty great at it. Maybe he was just very laxed on his end, not thinking that I knew the overall password. It was fun. Damn. I got nervous the first time that I put that. It was like, oh, do you want to send a code to your email? And it had a yes or no. And I was like, oh, if I do yes, and then I can't log in, then he's going to know, and it's a whole thing. But he left his email unlocked all the time. So it made it easy. So again, I don't know if you fucking knew or not. But I remember I was in probably middle school, early middle school probably. I don't know. I don't remember what age. I was young. But I remember when I first started finding like porn websites. I used to be into cars. I feel like I talked about this before. I don't know. But I was really into cars, and I really liked Hummers. So I really liked Hummers and just, really cool cars, exotic cars or whatever. And, I would search for, cool cars and, and stuff like that. And I would change my background all the time or whatever. And I remember one time I was searching. I kept getting the same cars pulling up every after a while because I kept searching for the same thing. And I was like, what other searches can I try? And I'm like, cool cars or fast cars or good cars. And and one day I typed in hot cars, or hot Hummers or hot cars, and I got some cars. But also there was other things on the cars. There was typically women either, topless, or they had wet t-shirts, or just sexual photos of some nature. All included the cars though. So, and I was like, oh wow, this is cool, right? I get a different feeling from this. Okay. And that's how it started, honestly, is from searching hot cars. And I got some cool results that started, and then I would, look into more, pictures, and then I stopped looking at cars altogether, and just started looking at the women, and then I went from, looking at the pictures, and then I was like, oh, there's videos, really? So vivid. I remember the first time, actually, the first day I stumbled onto that there was actually not just porn pictures, but also porn videos. I was like, what? Let me go watch this. To be young again. I don't want to be young again. I like my life now, but it's crazy to think just my porn career started by searching hot cars. I was just a car enthusiast young boy in America. Had no knowledge, I'm sure by that point I knew I liked girls. But I think that solidified it. It was an experience. It was a experience. I don't know what I would have done without the internet. Honestly, I don't know how other people have grown up. So many people, the old, the elderly, a lot of people have or had grown up without internet. There's some parents out there, right? Not even the fucking Amish, but just crazy fucks where, they're like, oh, I don't want my kid on the internet until they're 16 or whatever. Like, the fuck? Bitch, do you know, like, they're going to be in school, right? There's safety protect, just like my goddamn stepdad shit. You can get around everything. If you really want. I remember in high school, I was in a computer class. I forget what it was fucking called, but it was a bullshit class. We really didn't even do anything. And a teacher was usually down the hall, never in there. And he had his username and password, his actual like admin school profile on the board. Because for the class we needed that, and it's easier for everybody. But then, some people, not me, but some people did use those logins because there was no filters on any of that. So they were actually looking at porn. And I don't know, I'm assuming that IT was like, the fuck? And then like talked to his boss and was like, look at this. And his boss talked to him and he's like, oh, that was not me. That was the kids and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, why would you do that? But, why would you give your login information out? I would never trust the fucker. Never trust. But he's like, guys, if you're logging in with my stuff, please don't do that. I didn't. I think I knew who it was, but it's probably a couple people. But I usually got around it to play games. No, I didn't use his login, but I remember science class. Once we were done with our projects or whatever, we could go on the computer and use school games like geometry, Tetris, or fucking something. I don't know. But I had this friend, and he's like, "Oh, you should go to this website." And it was probably not good for kids, but I thought it was fun. And I think back on it every now and then. I'm like, that sounds like a fun game. It's a little sadistic. Well, a little sadistic. So you have a guy, a man or a woman, I don't know. I don't know if you could choose. I don't know. But a body, a person. And it's basically a torture simulation, in a way. You have ropes, you have knives, you have chainsaws, you have a gun. You have unlimited choices. And, so you can tie the person up, right? If you want to tie their arms and their legs and their head or whatever. I mean, you can tie everything. And then you can get the chainsaw or a knife and start slicing the body up, right? I mean, you can do, very sadistic, but fun as fuck. I have never murdered a person. So, anyway. But yeah, I should probably talk about that. Last week, I'm sure you know, I didn't post anything. And I took a mental health day. I took a mental health day, which is very important. I think everybody should take mental health days when needed. I needed a mental health day. And what I do on my mental health days, whenever I call off work or whenever I take off for something because of mental health, I call in sick. It's none of their fucking business what I'm doing. And, I stayed at home. I played some video games. I watched The Sopranos. I watched The Big Bang Theory. I ordered pizza. Because bad food, when I feel bad, makes me feel better. It's probably, I don't know, probably doesn't, but I like it. So, it's just one of those days. So I didn't record anything last week. But we are back at it again. If you want to look or see what I look like, come over to YouTube, Absurdity with Cullen. If you've seen what I look like, or if you're like, the voice tells me everything that I need to know. Then just the audio version, anywhere you listen to podcasts, or if you only use YouTube, because I'm sure there's somebody out there. If you pay for YouTube Premium, again, very worth it. I am not sponsored by the Googles, but I wholeheartedly stay behind YouTube Premium. You can take me off, do whatever you want, put me in the back, just have my voice go on. Or you can just stare at my face for however long we record the podcasts every week, mostly every week. Every Monday or every Wednesday morning is when these post. So this is Tuesday night for me. So this will post up tomorrow morning. I get my hair cut tomorrow. Very excited. And still growing the top out. So beard's coming in nice. I'm going to sleep good tonight. I have to wake up at 6:30 tomorrow, and I still have to work out tonight, take my dog over. A whole thing. I'm not going to get to bed till late, but that is fine because God made coffee, and God ain't real. So, anywho, again, if you want to see what I look like, YouTube, Absurdity Cullen. If you just want to, wherever you listen to podcasts, you just want to listen to my voice. Absurdity. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your uncles, tell your aunts, tell your sister-in-laws, your brother-in-laws, cousin-in-laws, right? Or your wife that is a cousin, or your daughter that's your cousin. I don't know how that would work, but if it does, it does. So, have a great night, morning, evening, day, weekend, month, wherever it is for you. I will see everybody, talk to everybody next week.